And we're back. We say that every week. I've got more fancy decorations.
Mm-hmm.
It's Henry Cavill's black suit, Zack Snyder Justice League Superman.
All of our fancy decorations are outside the house at this point, since we spent the weekend putting up lights and
sit back
trees.
Here with the crew.
Mm-hmm.
I adjusted my lighting so you can see Steppy better. And the Batmobile, you can actually recognize details. So yes, this is going to be episode 29. And I risked it. I threw out the number. If it's wrong, we'll have to record it all over. So we got a lot of little things, or maybe not a lot. We'll have one silly thing that happened this week on Twitter and all of its Twitterness. And then Hawkeye. And it caught me off guard that it came out. I knew something was coming out at the end of the month, and then like 2 days before, they're like, Hawkeye's out in 2 days. I'm like, oh, well, cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
So we're going to probably mostly talk about that. Unlike What If, I feel like we will definitely give our weekly spoilery wrap-up of it, because I'm going to say, we'll get to that. The first thing I want to talk about, and I know this is going to be a shock to those listeners that know us now, is some Zack Snyder stuff. And, he's been working on his own thing. He got that exclusive Netflix first look deal, which a lot of people don't understand what that means. That just means if he has an idea for a new movie, Netflix gets first dibs at it. If he has an idea for a DC movie, Netflix would be able to say, yes, we want to do that. And then Warner Brothers would be able to say, you will have to pay us so much money, or more likely, Warner Brothers might even say no. But yeah. So all the talk's been about his science fiction movie that starts filming in next year or the year after, called Rebel Moon. He's cast his lead, a female lead, and it's based on a story that he pitched to Lucasfilm right before Disney bought him. But this one obviously isn't going to be set in the Star Wars universe, but I think it's going to be that type of like high fantasy sci-fi that Star Wars is. So that's going to be awesome. But, and, a lot of us have, we'll still throw out a restore the Snyderverse tweet every once in a while, but, it's kind of been like, what are the odds at this point that we're ever going to get a sequel to Justice League or let him wrap up his story? Well, on Thanksgiving, he tends to post little Thanksgiving things all the time. And this is one of those things, and I got to make sure I get the right tab. Here we go. And this is, of course, he posted this little, little video of his turkey. Now I'm going to stop this. And what I want you to pay attention to is behind the turkey, there are two brown portfolio-looking books sitting on top of a black book with red and white text.
It's the recipe for his pumpkin cheesecake.
Yes, it's huge. But actually, turkey looks good, and I don't even like turkey. But what's noted is those portfolio books look an awful lot like his the things that he draws his storyboards in, his storyboard portfolios. And the book at the bottom, as was discovered, is actually, someone got a better view of it. And this is very interesting, and you'll see why in a minute. I had to read about what this story is. All right, that's the turkey again. The book is actually this book. It's a graphic novel called Final Crisis.
Oh, sure.
And it's this big dark side story, and you see Superman holding dead Batman. And if you know anything about the original story arc plans for Justice League 2 and 3, a lot of interesting things happen. And why's he got this book? Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing with Zack Snyder.
Well, okay. Before you go too far, wishful thinking. That's great. He's got portfolios because he's a movie director and he does a lot of storyboards, and that's the sort of thing that he just probably has laying around all over the place. And he is a fan of
comics.
Did you
notice the framing?
DC Comics.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. But see, what you don't understand is his Vero account. He has done stuff
you're
like
trying
that.
You're trying to point out that it's not a mistake. It's not a coincidence. He's got those things.
He doesn't
in the
do
shot.
coincidences.
Yeah.
The very first thing you said, he's a movie director. He made sure that shot was framed where you could constantly see those things in the background, and he knew that people would ferret that out and find out what book that was. He made it just blurry enough that you couldn't see it easily, but not so blurry that you couldn't make out the words Final Crisis in giant letters. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that literally, again, caused the Snyderverse to trend on Twitter, and people wondering, are deals being made, or is he just is he trying to get it going again? Who knows?
Okay.
I personally think the best chance of a continuation would be something like the situation with the first Wonder Woman movie, the good one. And when you look at the credits, you see the story by, and his name is in there, and executive produced by, and his name is in there. And that's enough. He gets his story. You get a good director, not, and I don't want to say a director that's a good fit. I almost said, not J.J. Abrams or not James Gunn. And it's not that they're not good directors or great directors. It's that, are they a fit to do a movie in that will seem like a direct continuation? But yeah, so that's the first breadcrumb he's given us since, before the Snyder Cut was released. It was really cool.
All right. Well, that's exciting.
So, and that's it for DC news. It's real. Oh, Aquaman filming seems to be back on track. I haven't heard any more about that. So let's start off. Let's dive right into Hawkeye.
Okay.
How does that sound? Let's just.
Sure.
How about we start with some first impressions? And I'm gonna try and keep images up.
I have enjoyed the hell out of the first two episodes, and a couple of things I'll say. I was a little bit surprised at the pacing of the story. Not surprised, and not in a bad way. I guess modestly surprised at the pacing of the story, and just kind of setting up this first act has focused much more on Kate Bishop than Clint Barton. Now, they obviously were they shared, probably, if I had to guess, maybe equal screen time in the second episode. I'm not actually sure about that, but this first act is very much focused on Kate Bishop. And
you think that's going to change?
Maybe, probably. I don't know. I have speculated for a long time, and I think most people are fairly confident with the titles that MCU has coming out planned over the next 2 years or so, with the introduction of Kamala Khan as Ms. Marvel. We've got Kate Bishop here as the young Hawkeye coming out.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
There's another Ironheart, right, that you're going to have a young Avengers crew eventually end up either as a Disney Plus show released as a show, or these characters can show up somehow integratively in a film, something like that. But I think the gaping hole there that everyone keeps wondering, and I'll be tickled if when we finally get when Spider-Man releases here in a few weeks, if we actually see just a hint of Miles Morales is coming. I don't know how they can make this multiversal Spider-Man movie and not introduce Miles Morales. Anyway, I'll try to keep it on topic. Hawkeye's fantastic so far.
Everything is going to be connecting to Spider-Man. Let's face it.
Well,
it's all leading up to that, and then Doctor Strange.
Got a nice balance of action, story, little backstory, little bit of humor here and there, good writing. The casting is working really well for me so far. Things, you know, and we get a glimpse of Clint post Thanos, the world post Thanos, and what's Clint up to these days? You know, just regular old Clint, you know, agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., which no longer exists, and former Avenger, not a thing any longer. This guy who's a, you know, highly trained, highly skilled superhero, basically, who's just kicking it with his family, wanting to have a nice Christmas, just doing plain old vanilla stuff. Hey, kids, let's go to New York and see the tree and Rockefeller Plaza and go ice skating and go to a movie marathon.
Oh, my God. The
just kind of, you
Captain
know.
America musical.
The musical. Oh, God. I was going to get there. Oh, I was rolling. Oh, my God. The musical was great.
They were taking too long.
Sorry. Well, this was all good.
And it seems like they got legit Broadway people, and whoever wrote it, the music that does the one song tune. Sorry, it's a show tune. It was rough. It was rough, but that's how I picture. I wonder if that was a little jab at Spider-Man Into the Dark or whatever it was, or
maybe
Spider-Man musical.
We don't talk about that. So the last thing I'll say about it, I'm very optimistic. I really enjoyed the first 2 episodes. Early on, when we talked about this show up and coming, I pointed out that it was leaked, I guess, not really leaked, but it became apparent that the writers were taking some big cues, some story elements from the David Aja. I'm probably mispronouncing that unless it's Asia. David Asia or David Aja, and
I have a sidebar about that. And yes, you're 100% correct.
Right, and
you're 100%
if you haven't
correct.
Read that book,
get paid any.
If you haven't read that book, I highly recommend it. Yeah. Highly recommend it.
The reason I say that is they didn't pay him anymore. They used all his like art styles and the opening credits,
the font,
and the story elements, like you referred to. Yep. And he's like, I didn't get any more money. He got paid nothing because he made it as when he worked for Marvel, and it's contractually belongs to them now.
Yeah.
And you know what? They should just pay these people when they use the stuff, even if it's not in the contract. It's just right there.
Or they need.
So visit your local comic book store and buy yourself a copy if you like the story.
Yeah. Hi, the name of the book, the name of the title is Hawkeye: My Life as a Weapon. That's the name of the story arc, is My Life as a Weapon. And I will say this, the story presented in this show does depart rather strongly from the book. They did not make that book into a show, but there are some elements of that they have integrated into this show in a good way as a nod to that. They obviously took some cues visually and from this relationship between Kate Bishop and Clint Barton. So I think it's great so far. I'm looking forward to the rest of the show. I haven't even looked yet to see how many episodes there are going to be. I'll be really angry if there's only 6
total.
Oh, okay. Well,
I will say this about the changing when you adapt something. I actually appreciate that because the way I see it, when you're adapting to this medium, even if unless this were 20 episodes long, which let's face it, that's what killed the CW for me. Is like, you know what? Black Lightning was the last great CW show, and it was like each season was like 12 episodes, and it was one story arc. But yeah, that's like, for instance, in BVS, instead of Jason Todd being the one killed by the Joker, it was Dick Grayson. So. But that slows down the story. So then there's just one Robin. There was only ever one Robin. So otherwise, you didn't want to have to
about the TV.
Do this big history. And it's the same with the Batman v Superman. No, that the Joker killed Dick Grayson in Zack Snyder's world.
Oh, how do you know?
That
I mean, where was that ever said explicitly? I mean, is that something that he said it off? Not in the movie. It's not in the movie. It's just something he said in an interview.
Oh, it's not in the movie, and then in the
because all you get in the movie is
opening
a Robin
credits.
suit. Right.
Yeah, in the opening credits of Suicide Squad, they're showing everyone's files, and it shows that it was Dick Grayson that was killed, not Jason Todd.
Oh.
But yeah, so back to Hawkeye. I'm going to give my quick thoughts now. One, yeah, it was actually really cool. And, the Hawkeye, Jeremy Renner, he's all right. I liked is the hearing aid something he actually wears, or is that like just a story point thing? That's what I was wondering, because I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh, I don't know.
Marvel's really going, they're upping their representation, but that doesn't necessarily count. But they have two deaf superheroes coming up.
Yeah, so you just brought up a very interesting point. I didn't know if we were going to get into the character that was introduced at the end of episode 2 that we're going to be seeing
we will.
in the show, and which is a deaf character named Echo, and I don't know if that's maybe a plot device that's going to come up at some point in the story. My guess is yes, but I also feel like it's a way that the writers are basically, also feel like it's a way that the writers are just dumping this in your lap at the beginning of the show. By the way, don't forget, Clint Barton is just a regular mortal vanilla human being and is susceptible to a lot of injuries. And he has this little camera reel flashback of him flying through windows and getting exploded and buildings falling on him and all of this stuff. And it's like, here's a guy who has absolutely, at this point in his career, we don't know how old he is. Maybe he's 40, maybe he's in his late 30s, maybe early 40s, but cumulative injuries have got to be wearing on him, right? Like his knees not quite going so well.
Yep.
He's had some head trauma, and now he's wearing this hearing aid because of the number of things that have exploded next to his face over the years. It's really starting to get to him. So yeah, I think that's a way for the writers to just say, oh yeah, by the way, remember, he is not bulletproof. He's not a super soldier. He's not magic, right? He's a super spy, right? He's a SHIELD agent. He's badass, but he can still get shot. He can still get injured. He can wind up in the hospital. And now I'm in danger of thinking about the Black Widow film. And that was one of my biggest beefs with the Black Widow film, was that several times over, she should have been in the ICU and traction, right? She should have. Yeah. She should have been in the hospital.
Yeah, that I'm going to need. I would like to need a watch along with Zack Snyder so he can point and say, "Oh, those guys, they'll be okay."
Right.
It's like the opposite of the reaction to Batman killing people. Which, we should do a whole episode on that. There's no way Batman doesn't kill people, at least by accident. Okay. He doesn't intentionally.
Well, all right.
But yeah. So yeah, I actually found myself more interested from the very beginning in the Kate Bishop character. And you were mentioning that her in Young Avengers, but I think, at least based on 2 episodes, my tinfoil hat says this might be them setting up her as being Hawkeye, like the Falcon and Winter Soldier, where he's now Captain America. She's going to be the Hawkeye, and maybe like Avengers.
Absolutely.
Avengers.
Absolutely. And I guess that if it's a way to allow Jeremy Renner to retire from the franchise, step out, I don't know. We'll see. What's really interesting about this is that the plot of these first couple of episodes have involved the Ronin suit. And that is a persona that for a time during the Civil War era, and this is coming straight out of the comics, right?
Yeah.
The Civil War, the whole soap opera around that. In the comic storyline, Echo, the character, is who becomes Ronin in the comics. And if I'm not mistaken, that's a period of time where Clint Barton was dead. And
that happens every once in a while.
And post House of M, which we've talked about on this podcast, Clint is resurrected, brought back to life. You remember that? Remember us talking about that? Anyway,
yep.
That's related here, kind of niche, But and so I'm just curious to see if the writers do anything with that, if they kind of weave this together somehow. If she's going to end up with there may be a nod to it, kind of a wink, nudge. Oh yeah, by the way, anyway, the Tracksuit Mafia, the Russian Bros, straight out of the My Life as a Weapon, and is one of the funniest when you read the book. It's hilarious. Mostly because like every other word is bro. Hey, bro.
Yes.
No, bro. Yeah, bro. No, bro. Yes. Bro.
Awesome. But yeah, and I really like the and they don't, of course, their press kit doesn't have it. Some of the shits. That opening sequence. Seeing the Battle of New York in the background, and seeing Hawkeye in action, and
kind of
it was a good angle to watch that. Some people were wondering if she got blipped, but I don't think that would add up. She would be very young if she got blipped. She wouldn't be the age. She said she's 22 now, and the year person said it was 2025, but it's actually 2023. Right. Still, I don't think.
And she wouldn't have had all of those years to become, black belt, Olympic level athlete, right? This sort of nationwide champion in these different martial arts.
Hey, she might not be that good because
archery.
There was only half the competition there would have been.
I see what you did there.
Okay. And I don't even want to talk about the incels are out again. They're calling her a Mary Sue. They're like, even though they had a whole montage explaining all of her years of training, they're like, she didn't earn her powers. It's like, you know what? How did
powers
Hawkeye?
Okay,
they don't complain about him. No one shows his history. They just he's a badass. We accept that. But no, I'm sorry, tired of the incels. You were saying,
The scene with the LARPers in Central Park or wherever that was supposed to be was hysterical. And yet, you mentioned Thanos, awesome. and that the comment under his breath, right, as he's kind of working his way through this pretend fight with all these folks, he's like, "Yeah, I fought Thanos. Why am I doing this?" Right. That was a great scene.
That was I was a little worried though because the guy put himself on Instagram with the suit. Is he going to be back? Because they're going to go after him now. Well, maybe not possible. Because they caught. Yeah. Well, no, they think they caught Hawkeye, and they think the girl is Ronin. The only person that knew Hawkeye was Ronin was Nat, right?
That's right.
They didn't even tell the rest of the Avengers. But yeah, so that was they gave us 2 episodes and I watched those straight back to back. I was like, I'll watch the first one, and then I was like, oh no, I'm watching the next one.
Right.
And they got to do that with these with the stories like this. Like remember when Walking Dead's first season was under 10 episodes, right? And they managed to get. No, you still had to watch. If you didn't watch the first 2 episodes of Walking Dead, you had a lot of self-control.
Well, the first season,
that first season, whenever you do these short seasons, it's like reading the beginning. If you read just one chapter of a book, and then put it down, there's a pretty good chance, unless you just know that you want to read the book, that it increases the odds that you may not pick that book up again. You got to read 2 chapters at least.
Right.
So, but yeah, I was actually liked him better in this than, I don't know, pretty much anything short of the Marvel movies other than Infinity War. I liked his was it Civil War where we first meet his family? It was Civil War. I liked him in Civil War when you meet his family. He wasn't in Infinity War. Obviously, or he was in it. No, he wasn't.
No, that was
he was under house arrest.
We first meet Clint Barton's family in Age of Ultron.
Civil War. Oh, Age of Ultron.
Yep. That's where they go.
Okay.
After they
get the log break.
After they get
I like
their,
those moments with him more than him just being, the soldier.
After Wanda cleans their clock, right, and sets the Hulk loose on some city in Taiwan, or I don't remember where they were, somewhere in Southeast Asia, they retreat, right? They have to go somewhere off the grid for a bit. He takes them into the...
Hawkeye and Clint and Ant-Man got caught, and they were under house arrest.
Yeah,
Hawkeye was not with the crew that went.
Hawkeye agreed to retire. Pretty sure. Yeah.
So we've seen 2 episodes, and you know what that means? It's tinfoil hat time. Who the main bad guy? And I think I have a pretty good guess. And if it's true, it may be amazing.
Okay.
Oh, and Echo almost confirms one thing too.
Well,
another rumor
that little blip at the end of the 2nd episode, they almost make us think that she's a villain. She's working with this criminal outfit, right? But we'll I'm curious to see how that develops. But what's your theory? Because I don't have one.
I have heard rumors that it's Kingpin. And if so, that could be Vincent D'Onofrio returning to that role. Yep.
Which would be fantastic. Yeah. The rumors still continue to simmer and churn regarding Charlie Cox making an appearance as Matt Murdock in
this show or in Spider-Man?
No, in Spider-Man.
Those rumors at this point, they're getting to the point where it's kind of like Andrew Garfield, where he won't even answer it. He'll just smile and say, whatever y'all want to think, and it's like,
fans have been clamoring for that for, the last 3-4 years. And I'm one of them. Honestly, I thought that those 2 actors in particular did.
The rumor I've heard is
just unprecedented. They did so well in those roles, right?
The rumor I have heard is that after Spider-Man, Daredevil will be soft rebooted with Charlie Cox back, and hopefully everyone else, all the Foggy and Karen and
really?
Kingpin and
same cast.
I don't know. I'm saying, Charlie Cox. Here's the difference between.
But Vince D'Onofrio's Kingpin was so good.
This is our weekly. The difference between Warner Brothers and Disney. Disney, the fans say, we want a thing. Disney says, okay, here's the thing.
We'll see what we can do. Right.
Yeah. Warner Brothers be like, screw you. It won't make money. It's like, but wait, we're literally all asking you for it. Don't you think that means we buy it? By the way, Zack Snyder's Justice League Blu-ray is still a top-selling Blu-ray. Like, what has it been, like 12 weeks
months.
later?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that being said, I think that if they replace Charlie Cox, that could very well be, the MCU's got enough problems right now with the fact that they've lost their 2 biggest heroes in the original, Steve Rogers and Tony Stark. And they don't know. Spider-Man is always a iffy prospect because Sony owns it. But you know what? Sony's got to be making money off of that. So they need to, it can't be just Doctor Strange and Wanda. They gotta.
Well, yeah.
They gotta get some big names in, and that Daredevil made such an impression on people.
This is an excellent place for us to pivot and maybe, I don't know, move on to a couple of other smaller topics.
One more quick rumor about Hawkeye.
Okay.
When Haley Steinfeld was on a talk show, I can't remember who it was it the goofy guy that used to be on Saturday Night Live? That guy. He asked her, is like, Spider-Man going to show up? She's like, oh, that'd be cool, wouldn't it? And then got like very quiet. She's like, no, literally, I don't know. Now that a lot of these Marvel stars just say they don't even know what's happening in the show that they star in. But I would not. That's one little like Spider-Man cameo at the last episode would not surprise me at all. Even if it's similar to the one we talked about before the recording started. But anyway, so we're pivoting. Where are we pivoting?
Well, you mentioned Doctor Strange, Wanda, and I was going to point out that I believe it was what's the last thing we saw in the theater? It must have been Bond. When we saw Bond, we saw the full trailer for Morbius with Jared Leto, which looks visually and the tone of the whole thing, it looks just from the trailer. I hate judging movies by trailers, but looks like it's going to be really good. And that is a very dark character, and we know we're getting Blade coming, right? And
yes, apparently he had a cameo at the in-credit scene of Eternals.
And so, they're building more of this occult, supernatural, mystic kind of scene with the Doctor Strange film and with Wanda. And who knows? That's what triggered me thinking about it. Will we see a Jared Leto cameo in?
Did you watch
Multiverse of Madness? Closely? Oh yeah, sure.
That's
Murder.
And what's interesting, which suit is that?
I can't tell. I never can.
That's the Raimi suit.
How can you
That's
tell?
From the one. It doesn't have the Gigantor spider. It has the medium-sized one. And two, look at the kind of raised, shiny things here. And the eyes aren't as big as the Andrew Garfield one. The Andrew Garfield one had the huge eyes on it.
No, I don't think so. The Andrew Garfield suit, they actually showed him in the show. The eyes were made out of sunglasses. He made the eyes he popped the lenses out of a pair of Oakleys or something. That I always thought that was the only weird thing about the Andrew Garfield suit is that the eyes were kind of narrow, a little smaller.
I always find tiny
and reflective because they were made out of sunglasses.
Oh yeah, you can now it's definitely the webbing. You can tell by the webbing.
Okay.
Oh no, I didn't want to open the image in a new tab. It's the webbing isn't really raised here. It's more just a texture thing. I need to go back and watch all these all 5 Spider-Man movies. 7 Spider-Man movies. Got Spider-Man and Batman, and having 100 different movies is the way to go, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And then there was another rumor about that before we moved to Doctor Strange, which is even further in the future, that Kirsten Dunst and
Gwen Stacy,
Emma Stone were supposed to have a cameo, but couldn't because of COVID.
Oh, God.
They usually film those things in pickups, the cameos. They don't film them in the main filming, I guess.
Okay.
That's why Martian Manhunter didn't show up until they filmed it in Zack Snyder's driveway last year. So,
if you haven't watched
diving into Doctor Strange.
Yeah, go check out the trailer for Morbius. Looks like
I meant to do a reaction to it, but I forgot.
If you don't know anything about that character, I mean, as far as kind of, some of these more B-list or even C-list characters that aren't household names. I know I made a comment like that when we were talking about the Eternals. Not a household name, right? The way that
Morbius?
the Justice League is. No. Yeah, well, Morbius as the Marvel character.
Yeah, because I know a bunch of vampire freaks love Morbius.
Right, but that's kind of a niche.
Vampire freaks out there.
That's kind of a niche audience, right? It's not like talking about Wonder Woman. You show up for Thanksgiving dinner and talk about, the superhero Morbius, and everyone's going to say, wait, what? Back up. He's a vampire?
Well, that's like Blade.
Right. Well, I'm just pointing out that he's not a household name. Really interesting character, though, right? You've got essentially a vampire who is an anti-hero.
He made himself a vampire.
Yes. Not exactly sure, but that's alluded to in the trailer in a really neat way. It's probably going to be really interesting. And so I think it's going to be a neat story. If they do it right, if they pull it off well, I think it'll be a really good movie. Anyway, could show up in Doctor Strange. Who knows?
Oh, well, he's gonna. He might show up in another Venom movie too. I'm assuming they're going to make one.
Morbius?
This one was a pretty. Well, yeah, he mentions Venom in the end of the trailer, which is funny because no one would know who Venom is.
Right. Okay. Well, okay.
They're all in the same. All the Sony stuff is in the same universe.
Well,
except for Spider-Man.
Could end up seeing another thread that's running through this sort of phase 3 into phase 4 films. All the stuff that MCU is doing in the same way that they used Thanos throughout the, phase, I guess it was phase 1 into phase 2, how Thanos ended up being the sort of puppet master behind the scenes. And this is another name that we've talked about in the past that may turn out to be the main villain in Doctor Strange. Maybe something else going on, another puppet master pulling everybody's strings from behind the scenes, right? Which is Mephisto.
So you don't think Wanda's going to be the villain? Or is she done being a villain?
That's a really interesting question. I don't think we have any reason to think she's going to be a villain unless they really are going to borrow very heavily from the House of M, right? And sort of really lean into the story arcs that painted her into a corner in the comics because of her mental status, her mental health, trying to cope with her powers. And that's a possibility.
I don't think they should touch that until they introduce Magneto and explain
they already touched that. Though,
she's actually his daughter.
I mean, that's essentially what they did with WandaVision, right? I mean, Wanda took an entire town hostage, right? Yep. And captured, stuck them all in this bubble.
Who are you going to say you think the villain is? You had an idea, and I sidetracked.
What, for Hawkeye?
With a dog. No,
for Hawkeye?
For Doctor Strange.
Oh, Mephisto.
Doctor Strange.
Mephisto.
Oh, God. That's become a running joke now. Every time someone's like, it's Mephisto!
Yeah.
And Hawkeye and Spider-Man is like, nope, must be Mephisto. After the whole WandaVision, everyone swore up and down it was Mephisto. But it was Agatha all along. And that announcement made my wife and I very happy that they're making an Agatha show.
Well, here's what I was trying to point out.
Please warn Catherine Hahn. Yes.
So here's what I was trying to point out a minute ago is that when you look at the first Avengers film, right? Who's the villain? Well, it's Loki. Well, who was Loki's boss, right? Who was Loki essentially, who was pulling his strings? And that's what I was trying to point out with like Agatha, with, whoever the villain turns out to be these movies. It could end up being, Mephisto could end up being our next Thanos. I think it's a bit of a stretch to say that it's going to be some cosmic level, but who knows what the writers could do with a character like Galactus?
Yeah,
but
that's what I'm saying. I thought the Eternals kind of set up. They are like, well, the Celestials are paying attention to Earth now,
yeah,
and they probably see us as powerful, and that I might lean towards Mephisto being a Loki, like. Showing up as a Loki type villain, like your villain for the movie. They could bring Ultron back. Vision supposedly killed him, but maybe he didn't, because that was kind of cold blooded.
Well, I mean that's kind of a recurring trope or meme, I guess, in Marvel Comics with the Avengers in particular, is that Ultron periodically comes back. Right? Just actually getting rid of him has proved very difficult. And he's been shot into space, and he's kind of gone off and then come back and goes underground.
I kind of agree with the people who have said that the version of Ultron in What If is the version we wish we all could. Not necessarily one with Infinity Stones, but one just so ridiculously powerful. A lot of people felt they nerfed Ultron too much.
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah,
but
so
I try not to get too high. Every time I get hyped up for Doctor Strange, I remember that it doesn't come out for a while.
Yeah, next summer, right?
Is it right? That soon? It's not 2023, is it?
Or next fall?
I don't
remember. Okay,
I can wait that one.
Well, what else you got? What else is happening?
We got in a dog grumbling because I dared to move. Let's see. We got the last thing, quick thing. So this doesn't stretch out to be a 15-hour long thing here. Is the thing I am quite excited for is dropping just around Christmas time, we're going to get some Boba Fett action. And it looks, they've dropped a little short trailer, and it looks like it's going to be a pretty wild ride. It's going to definitely delve into even darker places in the underworld of Star Wars than The Mandalorian did. Mostly because he shouldn't be taking Grogu to those places. Grogu could get hurt. Or Grogu could, kill someone. Whatever. One of the two. But yeah, Boba Fett, they dropped a little teaser, which I think I did a reaction to. So what are your thoughts on this? Have you seen all the teasers?
I've seen one of the teasers. Are there several? I've seen one teaser.
There's another little shorter one that just dropped.
Okay.
I was lazy today. I didn't upload any of these things. Sorry, folks.
sorry.
No trailer reaction this episode. No trailer reaction. But there is more puppy. You even heard a puppy in the background at Scott's place. There's lots of dogs happening.
That's right. I look forward to it. I mean, if it's being held to the same standard as everything else that we've got, I'm holding my breath for the Obi-Wan. That's what I can't wait for.
Oh yeah.
The
first hello there will be great.
Come soon
and
enough.
Hayden Christensen returning. Wow, he is beloved now. How much things have changed in the last 15 years. Everyone, when they announced Obi-Wan or the Kenobi series, everyone's like, yay, Kenobi. Then they were like, Hayden Christensen will be back as Darth Vader. Like, yeah, it was crazy. I was like, I remember people hating him. I thought he was perfect.
Yeah.
As the father of Luke Skywalker, he was a whiny little boy, but he just took it too far and became the Dark Lord of the Sith. That's all. Could have been worse. He could have been
we could fill a couple
Lord
of episodes, I think, in just talking about all of the various opinions on both sides of the fence, and opinions and criticisms and support and all the, conjecture and everything people have pontificated on over the years about the prequels, the Star Wars prequels. And I'm definitely square in the middle of all of those things, because as a lifelong, I guess, call me a fanboy. I don't care. Whatever you want. I grew up with Star Wars. I love it and really enjoyed those movies, seen them in the theater, have watched them several times. They're not perfect. And if anything, I think I come down on the side of the folks who were always very quick to point out that it's possible that Lucas, when he went to make those films, suffered from surrounding himself with probably too many what historically people call a yes man, right? People who were just didn't question anything. He had a vision for what he wanted to do, and people did not question any of it. They simply said, what color do you want it to be? How long do you want this to be? Right? Okay, I'll make it. Okay, that looks great. We'll just do it. And just shot the whole thing from start to finish. And in the end, there's some writing, kind of scripting things, and things with some of the characters that not the strongest elements of the movie, but they're Star Wars movies.
Revenge of the Sith makes the previous ones work. If you take Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones by themselves, I see what you're saying. But when you put Revenge of the Sith on the end, then it becomes...
Okay, we're coming dangerously close to having a conversation about this right now.
No, let's not.
I have
because
always...
then I could also talk about the same thing with BVS and Justice League. So it's a payoff.
Well, no, I've always felt like... I've never understood anyone that gave Phantom Menace much of a hard time, because I thought Phantom Menace was fantastic. It was great.
It was deep and Phantom Menace.
Lucas made one enormous mistake with Phantom Menace, in my opinion.
Jar Jar?
The biggest mistake of... No, not Jar Jar Binks. Come on. I mean, again, I come square
Kids
down on the camp with Ewoks. I mean, you have a problem with Jar Jar Binks, but you didn't have a problem with Muppets.
Or C-3PO.
In Star Wars. Okay, that's beside the point. The biggest mistake that he made with Phantom Menace was killing Darth Maul.
Right.
Darth
then he
Maul
brought him
should
back.
have continued in a cartoon, in an animated show.
No, that is canon. Ask
No,
Kathleen
I got
Kennedy.
it. I get it. I know.
He may show
It's
up
canon.
in Kenobi, and he did
I
show
get
up in
it.
Solo.
I know.
He
That's
ain't dead
fine.
yet.
I know.
Well, actually, no. Now he is dead
Well,
because Obi-Wan
there's
killed him, right?
plenty of precedent in the Star Wars universe for people getting limbs chopped off and getting lightsabered and having all this advanced medicine and cybernetics to kind of stitch people back together and just we'll
Or they'll
give you
just
a new
clone
leg
you.
and how they did with Darth Vader. But I don't know. I think there's something about having the spine severed at the waist that's maybe, again, who knows?
He's an alien.
Medical technology is very advanced. That's a great point that I'd never considered, right? Maybe his internal anatomy is very different than ours. It could be
I cannot
dramatically
tell
different.
you how many times, and I don't even have to respond because someone inevitably does with Jodie Whittaker, who, by the way, is a brilliant doctor. How many times people are like, how can he be a girl? It's like, he is an alien. He has how many hearts? 3? 2?
2. You're talking about
And then they're like, and then they're like, it's never happened before. It's Misty. The Master became Misty.
okay.
In Capaldi. It's just, I'm so tired. People are, and then the same thing happens with Superman. So many times arguments will be made about how he needs to be like this exact thing. Is like, he is not human. He is an alien. They can do whatever they want with Superman.
Right.
His father could be played by an African American because maybe their skin color is different.
That's right. Who knows?
But on that note,
great point.
this is
Wow,
we're back
we
in
got
the
off
thick
on a
of
tangent. Sorry, folks.
it. If you don't get
Comment
trailer
section's
reactions,
gonna
you get
fill up
tangents.
Yeah.
They really should. I really thought our Batman trailer reaction, would make people mad because we didn't like freak out over it.
Well,
Although, when I
maybe-
saw the trailer for
maybe
that,
we need to
I will say this.
we need to start throwing more conversational hand grenades into the room, right? We need to pick some more incendiary topics.
I will say this about that. When I went to see the Eternals, they played the trailer for the Batman in the big ass XD theater.
Oh yeah.
It, like cranked. Oh, it hit different then. It hit different. Now I'm kind of excited for the movie when I saw it in HD. I'm not excited for the Batmobile. Not my Batmobile. That's my Batmobile right there.
Oh yeah. I'm still not sure it's some kind of Dodge Charger or Camaro. I'm not sure. Right?
Yeah,
Some
it
sort
just
of
looks like he souped up an
armor-plated
old 70s
thing.
car and put a gen in it. All right, on that note, we have promised our number one fan that we would do a Dune breakdown, and I have now seen that movie 3 times, and we will hit that up on the next episode, at least for part of it. And we will have another episode of Hawkeye to talk about next week. So that's going to be really exciting.
Yep.
So
things I'm excited for. Expanse, next season of Expanse. I know it's real
Isn't that the
off
last?
topic, but I don't know. So I'd still never read the books, but that's a show that I got into on your recommendation. And we were talking about this before we hit record, and you're not even caught up on the show. Excellent show. Great sci-fi show. Everybody should check that out. That's coming. Started the first episode of Wheel of Time, Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time, and have not seen enough of it to form an opinion, but it's getting very strong reviews, mostly favorable reviews. I think the Metacritic and IMDb, it's something like 7.5, 7.8 at this point. So I read those books years ago, Lord, 12, 14, 15 years ago. We'll see.
Yeah, that's
Maybe
all
I'll
I
have an
could.
opinion on that.
I'm getting way too many shows on my plate.
Right.
But so don't. Bugbear says to like and subscribe. She won't look at the camera. She's camera shy. So I'm going to put her down and leave comments, suggestions. Try and troll us. I can delete your comment if it's rude. But yeah, until next time.
Later.
Cue the music.